Imagine unrolling a forgotten atlas, its pages yellowed with centuries. At first, it looks ordinary: mountains, rivers, oceans. But then you notice something chilling: borders crisscrossing continents, cutting through cities, dividing kingdoms. Lines that do not exist on any modern map. These weren't imaginary doodles. They were boundaries, secret divisions drawn in backrooms of empires, carved by power, greed, and ambition. Boundaries the public was never supposed to see. Welcome to Lost Map Files, where impossible maps reveal hidden truths history tried to bury. The year is 1884. The world's most powerful men gather in Berlin. They sit at a long mahogany table drinking wine, while unfurled maps of Africa cover the surface. But these maps don't show deserts or rivers. They show future borders, lines that will slice the continent into pieces before a single European soldier has even set foot inland. This was the Berlin Conference, a meeting where Europe's colonial powers secretly divided Africa as if it were an unclaimed treasure chest. The maps made that day were never for African eyes. They were confidential, marked restricted, circulated only among diplomats and generals. Borders drawn in pencil became, decades later, borders enforced by guns. One of these maps survives today. It's known as the Confidential Partition Map of Africa. It shows borders carved along rivers Europeans hadn't yet seen, mountains no one had surveyed, and tribal lands no one had asked permission to divide. A dotted line slices through what is now Nigeria. Another cuts across Congo. Yet another bisects Somalia, where it still sparks conflicts today. Technical note: remember, in the 19th century, these borders weren't based on exploration or consent. Cartographers combined rumors, sailor reports, and arbitrary geometric lines. Some territories were literally split by drawing straight rulers across the map. Historians estimate that 80% of Africa's borders today were first drawn at that table in Berlin, without a single African leader present. But here's the deeper secret: these maps weren't just about Africa. Similar forbidden borders were sketched for Central Asia, where Russia and Britain carved out spheres of influence in the so-called Great Game. They were drawn in the Pacific, where islands were quietly divided between Germany, Britain, and the US. They were sketched in the Middle East, most infamously with the Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916, where France and Britain secretly divided Ottoman lands, borders that still ignite wars a century later. These maps were never printed in school atlases. They weren't meant for public eyes. They were blueprints of conquest. And every line drawn in ink would later be enforced in blood. So when we look at these secret maps today, we're not just seeing forgotten borders. We're seeing the blueprint of entire conflicts, the cracks still splitting nations apart. It raises one unsettling question. If maps we weren't meant to see shaped wars of the past, what hidden maps might be shaping our future right now? Because make no mistake, hidden maps are still being drawn today. In defense ministries, in corporate boardrooms, in places the public may never glimpse until it's too late. Subscribe to Lost Map Files, where every impossible map reveals the hidden history beneath the paper.